While the Big Apple has seen a decline in violent crime lately, there is one disturbing exception. In city parks and playgrounds, this past summer has been one of the most violent in recent history. At least 41 people were involved in violent incidents this summer. And you'd expect that would make parents nervous. But one New York mom, Lenore Skenazy, not only organizes playdates in Central Park, she makes certain the kids are unsupervised. This is an after-school program that she's calling I Won't Supervise Your Kids. It costs $350. If you're as skeptical, compelled, and interested in the story as I am, then you're going to want to pay attention. We have Lenore Skenazy on Polycom. She's the founder of the Free Range Kids movement. Lenore, thanks for being on the show with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Doc.
And so, first of all, clarify what you're doing here for us.
The whole idea is that parents pay a lot of money for after-school programs. There's one thing that we've sort of taken out of their lives, and that is simply playing. It's really unusual now. It's certainly hard for my kids to find people after school just to hang out with and play, and yet play is something vital for kids. It's nature's super vitamin. Let's call it organic.
But out of curiosity,
you know, in one part, I kind of agree with you, because when I was a kid, we'd run around unsupervised and we were just fine. And I loved walking to school, and I'd take the bus and walk 5 blocks to piano lessons both ways. And, you know, I love that.
Me too.
But, you know, I just want to read the ad, you know, that we'll meet at the entrance to Ancient Playground in Central Park, and you give the address, then I'll go off and sip my latte. And then kids can be picked up at 5:15, or they can head home on their own. It's up to you and them. You know, if a child owns a watch, have them wear it. Otherwise, kids can ask folks what time it is. You know, if anybody, here's the thing about this ad. You know who else is reading this ad?
The child molester.
Right. You know, this is telling people that there's going to be a bunch of unsupervised kids at this playground on this day, and that's something I have a problem with.
Wait, can I just say one thing? When you were walking to school, Dr. Steers, presumably that was in the 70s or the 80s, right? It was in the 70s, alas, me too. Anyways, the point being that the crime rate was higher then. The crime rate was higher in the 70s, 80s, and 90s than it is today, nationally, amongst children, amongst adults.
And we hear a lot, there's a lot of people
knew
moaning
that there was some
right now.
crime out there, but they let us go because they were able to keep some perspective that, yes, the world is never going to be perfect, but the odds are really in our favor. Play is important for children. I trust my child. I trust my community. I think I've taught them well enough to not get in the car with anyone, to not go off with anyone.
Your child,
Hold on.
you're
Really
unsupervised with a whole bunch of other people's childs, and you're charging for it. And I mean, that park, we know that there's been a lot of activity around the park. See all those red dots? That's where sexual offenders are. So why would you, as a parent, pay somebody to, you know, expose your kids to potential dangers? I don't understand that.
I've been to that park many times, and my kids used to play there. It's populated by children, nannies, walkers, dogs, old people. And I think there's safety in numbers, and I think one of the things that's made us feel very unsafe lately is that we're all keeping our children inside, and you don't see kids outside. I'm just trying to do like the same thing you did with like wildflowers used to grow, and then we cut them all down, and then we had to actually reseed the world with the wildflowers, even though they're supposed to be wild. That's how I feel about children playing again outdoors.
Lenore, I love that message. Let kids be kids. Let them interact amongst themselves without somebody hovering over them, controlling every action, 100%. But if you're not there, it only takes a minute for somebody to take a kid away.
I feel like we've been trained to think what I call do worst first thinking. Think of the very worst case scenario first and proceed as if it's likely to happen. And when
Lenore,
you do
what do you do for a living?
I write. I'm a writer.
Come spend a night in the emergency department in the inner city. Hang out. Come hang out with me. Your eyes will look at the world in a very different place. I'm telling you right now. I don't care that statistics for crime have gone down. Each and every day in every city in this country, bad things are happening. I promise you, I see it all the time. So let me just caution you and say that if you're going to do this, you better have a huge, huge insurance policy, because when something happens to one of these kids, you are going to be responsible. I'm just telling you the God's honest truth.